Hello everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. I hope everyone is doing well. Please stay tuned to the end for channel updates, some more information on this next giveaway, information on various search and rescue events that are coming up. Today we are going to be covering one of the most disturbing disappearances and cases that I've ever covered in the hundreds of cases that I have covered on this channel. It is just absolutely tragic. Two people went missing from the same family. One of them is still missing. This case thus takes us to the small town of Nash County, North Carolina. It is that red dotted area there that you can see. I'm going to have various maps up throughout the video as well. I'm going to have various pictures. The county has roughly a population of 95,000 people. It is a rural area. Most people know their neighbors. Most people have shops in town or small businesses. This is a picture of looking in the town of Rocky Mount. For the most part, there is a very low crime rate. People are friendly with one another. It's a nice place to raise a family. This case takes us all the way back to the year of 2004, more specifically January 19th of 2004. Deborah Elaine Deans was last seen in the morning sometime around 9 a.m. on Wiley Road where she was living at the time. This is a picture of Deborah when she was around 18, 19 years old. Here's a map and a picture of the street, Wiley Road. As you can see, it's a small road that butts up against US Highway 64. We're going to talk more about this and the location. I just wanted to show you. Here's a picture of the road looking down towards where the trailer and little house was that she was living at the time. Deborah, who went by Debbie, she had moved to the area when she was going into high school. It was sort of a rough transition on her. By her sophomore year of high school, she felt that she was bored. She wanted to move on. She decided that she was going to get her GED. This only took her roughly 10 months, after which she started taking classes at the local community college, Nash Community College. She also got a job working as a server, which she loved. She loved working with people. She loved helping kids. She was highly intelligent. She loved art. It was at 19 where she met her first husband, a man by the name of Thomas. That was a whirlwind romance. They immediately had a child. Unfortunately, the romance fell apart very quickly. They ended up getting divorced. Shortly thereafter, Debbie met a man by the name of Robbie Hancock. This was going to be her second husband. This was an on and off relationship whom she also had a child with. During their time together, she became friends with her sister-in-law, a woman by the name of Kimberly Hancock. Robert's brother, a guy everyone knew as KoJak. KoJak was very liked in the community. He had a lot of friends. He was very outgoing. Unfortunately, her relationship with Robbie did not last either. They ended up getting divorced. Debbie went on to have two future spouses, each of which she had a child with. Her life started to go downhill. She got involved with drugs a little bit, and she was just going through a really rough time. Her mother, who is an amazing woman, stepped in to help with some of the kids. One of the kids was put in foster care. Deborah got some help with the drugs. Unfortunately, it was still kind of sticking with her. By the age of 29, she had 4 young children from 4 different men that she was trying to take care of, provide a good life for. Only one of her ex-husbands, the second one, Robbie, was paying the actual child support. This was a very difficult time of Debbie's life. She was trying to work, take care of her kids, do anything to support them. She wasn't getting any help except from that one husband, Robbie. Her wonderful mother was helping her where she could, but it was a very difficult time, and unfortunately, Debbie did go to some bad lengths. She ended up writing some bad checks. She did some petty larceny, and she was, in 2003, arrested and charged with these crimes. She went to court. She was sentenced to a little bit of jail time for these crimes. After her conviction for the fraud and writing bad checks, her main concern was her child. Her youngest child, Samantha, her other children were with her mother, and the other one was in foster care. Her ex-sister-in-law, this woman, Kimberly Hancock, which is the sister of her second husband, Robbie, she immediately stepped in and said that Samantha could come live with her in her trailer. The two women had remained good friends since the divorce from Robbie, and in Debbie's mind, this was just her friend Kimberly doing her a favor. She was only going to be in jail for a couple months. She was very excited to get out of jail and to be a better mother to her children. Upon her release in January of 2004, Kimberly Hancock invited her to come live in the trailer with her. In Debbie's mind, this was just a kind gesture by her friend Kimberly to help her get reestablished, help her with her child while she went back to work or looked for a new job. Debbie was so determined at this point to get all her kids back. It was only 4 days after being released from jail that she mysteriously disappeared on January 19th of 2004. At first, her mother and other family members weren't too alarmed because prior to this was kind of a common thing for Debbie to do, to just go off for a couple of weeks. By April, though, when she did not get in touch with her mother for her daughter Jessica's birthday, her mother knew that there was a problem. She contacted the police on April 16th of 2004. She contacted the Rocky Mount Police Department. They began their investigation by questioning Kimberly Hancock, the woman Debbie was living with. Kimberly Hancock told the Rocky Mount Police Department that after Debbie had been released from jail, she had come to live with Kimberly. The evening in question, the last time she saw Debbie, she heard a car pull up into their driveway. Debbie said that she was going out. She left her daughter Samantha with Kimberly to babysit. She saw the car pull off on Wiley Road, and that was the last time she told Rocky Mount Police Department that she saw Debbie. The Nash County Sheriff's Office also got involved in the investigation. They followed up several leads. Sadly, one by one, all the leads that came in ran cold. Slowly, they weren't getting any leads at all, and the case itself went cold. No one had any idea what happened to Debbie Elaine Deans. The media got involved a little bit, putting together some stories in the papers. This didn't generate any new leads either. The family, of course, was putting up flyers, trying to get the word out as much as possible. Kimberly Hancock told the police that she had heard from Debbie sometime towards the end of January. She had asked to pick up a couple of her kids. This didn't really make sense to Debbie's mom. Debbie's mom never really trusted this woman, Kimberly Hancock. She had always thought that the police should look more closely at her, but the case ran cold for 15 long years. This was, of course, devastating to Debbie's mom, her kids. Her oldest kids were able to stay with Debbie's mom, while her two younger kids went into foster care. Thankfully, they were both adopted by one family. Over the next 15 years, Debbie's mother, Elaine Blevins, she never gave up. She was always hopeful. She kept putting up flyers. She talked to newspapers. She talked to authorities, anybody who was willing to help. She was always praying and hoping that one day she would find her daughter Debbie or find out what happened to her. After all this time, on October 24th of 2019, a tip came in to this small nonprofit organization in North Carolina called Fighting Crime. Fighting Crime LLC is a small nonprofit organization run basically by this one woman named Kathryn. I'll have all her information and the organization's info in the description. She takes anonymous tips from people and helps with crimes all over the nation. In this particular case, on October 24th of 2019, Kathryn received a phone call from an anonymous caller stating that he had vital information regarding the cold case of Deborah Elaine Deans. The caller stated that Deborah is not missing, that she is deceased. The caller further went on and gave Kathryn more details about where to find Debbie Deans, as well as more information regarding the actual crime. Kathryn took all this information down and immediately contacted Lieutenant Sherrod of the Nash County Sheriff's Office. Took the call. More information was provided to him by this anonymous caller via Kathryn, saying exactly where the remains would be found: behind a building in this small wooded area. It would be wrapped in some type of a carpet and a tarp. They immediately dispatched their criminal investigation team to that location, which was located on Wiley Road. Going into situations like this, the authorities never know what to expect because there are a lot of people that make up false claims. This is what they found when they got there. Verbatim, as the caller had said, they found this rolled up body in a tarp and carpet in a shallow grave in the exact spot that the caller had stated. They were absolutely shocked and mortified by what they found. There was also cords, what looked like a telephone cord, wrapped around the outer tarp. Because of the state of the remains, they brought in a forensic anthropologist as well as the medical examiner's office. They did everything very meticulously and slowly, collecting as much evidence and all the remains. The authorities knew they had a homicide on their hands, however they could not at this point identify the remains due to their state. They could not confirm that it was Debbie Elaine Deans. They had to do more investigation at this point. The first thing the detectives wanted to find out was who the property belonged to, where they found the remains. Lo and behold, it belongs to this woman, Kimberly Hancock, the ex-sister-in-law of Deborah Elaine Deans. Before going to question Kimberly, they did some more background on her. They found out that when she was 18 years old, she shot her father while he was asleep in a chair. She was only given probation. She never had to serve any jail time. It was stated that there was possibly some type of abuse going on. This is the claim that she made to the court. However, that was never substantiated. The only punishment she received for this crime was roughly 3 years probation. That was it. Kimberly went on living her life. She had a couple of different relationships. She had a few children. She really never held down any type of job. It became known that she was the type of person that used people. In the eyes of the law, the fact that she had killed her father at 18 and had no punishment really for it, this immediately pushed her, among other reasons, to the top of the suspects list. She was the last person to see Debbie Elaine Deans alive, and the remains were found on her property. When the body was found behind Kimberly Hancock's house, thought to be tied to or being that of Deborah Elaine Deans, it spread like wildfire through the media. People came from all over the country to cover the story. As the investigation went on, the mysterious tipster called again with more information. They stated that they wanted to tell this information, they wanted to get it off their chest, they wanted a clean conscience. They also wanted to make sure that the proper people were put to justice. They said that also around the time that Debbie disappeared, Kimberly wanted and did in fact renovate the majority of her trailer. The caller said that this seemed to come out of nowhere, and when they stopped over, they had noticed some droplets of blood on certain items. Unfortunately, because Kimberly Hancock did go through with all these home renovations, including changing the carpet, the authorities didn't plan or expect to find any evidence there after more than 15 years having passed. As the investigation continued on Wiley Road and into the suspect Kimberly Hancock, the authorities caught a break when Kimberly's daughter Laura agreed to come in and talk to them. Although Laura and her mother Kimberly lived right next door to each other, they weren't really that close. Laura at first was a little hesitant to tell the police what her mother had just called and told her. She stated that her mother, Kimberly Hancock, had called and said that the police are on to me. They know that I did something to Debbie. Laura was shocked and asked her mother what she was talking about. Kimberly went on to say that she had killed Debbie, she had wrapped her in a carpet, she had done this because of the Social Security checks. Laura asked her what she meant by this. Kimberly Hancock was receiving Debbie Deans' Social Security checks while she was in jail. Upon her being released, Debbie said that she wanted these checks. These checks were for $100 a month. They were supposed to be going towards helping the kids. Apparently, Kimberly was cashing them and using them for whatever she wanted. Kimberly told her daughter Laura that when Debbie got out of jail and came home, the two women had an argument about these checks. Debbie wanted them for herself, and they were hers. They should be for her. Kimberly, on the other hand, didn't like this. She thought that she should keeping them because Debbie was in the house or whatever her reason was. It is believed by the police that it is this time that Kimberly hatched the idea to get rid of Debbie. During her interview with the police, Laura also told them that Kimberly Hancock, her mother, had already had a plan that she was going to try and pin this on her own brothers, a guy by the name of Robbie, who was Debbie's second husband, and her other brother, a guy that they all called KoJak, this guy right here. At this point, the sheriff's department and police were ready to pick up Kimberly Hancock. They wanted to bring her in for an interview, see what she had to say. They were actually a little surprised that she came in willingly. She didn't try and flee at all. They found her at her property. Keep in mind, the police have all this information. They have the body, they have the informant, they have her own daughter's statement saying that Kimberly Hancock did this herself. They bring her into the station. They start the interview. These are pictures from the interview. They tell her that they have found human remains on her property. They tell her that they believe it to be that of Debbie Deans. They ask her to come clean. She tries all these weird things, saying, no, I was in Florida. No, it wasn't me. She gets emotional, fake crocodile tears. She keeps saying, like, I had nothing to do with it. Keep in mind, the police have all this information, including her daughter telling them that she was going to blame her two brothers, which she does during this interview. One of the brothers, Robbie, who was Debbie's second husband, he has passed away. He passed away years ago due to an illness. The other brother, known as KoJak, this guy, he disappeared 5 years after Debbie disappeared and is still missing to this day. He disappeared in July of 2009 under mysterious circumstances. Now, who do you think had something to do with that disappearance? More on that to come. After Kimberly was arrested and interviewed, still putting up this fight that she didn't have anything to do with it, the doctors and anthropologists were working to confirm that it was, in fact, the remains of Deborah Elaine Deans. Through their forensic methodology and modern DNA testing, they were able to not only confirm that it was in fact Debbie Deans, they were able to determine the cause of death, that it was a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Very similar to the one that Kimberly had inflicted on her father when she was 18 years old. Although Kimberly Hancock had been arrested and charged with this crime, the police and DA were still having problems because they didn't have any direct evidence linking her to the crime. Then they did get a break when she wrote a jailhouse letter to a cellmate, and it was basically saying that, yeah, you heard about that story about the body in the backyard. She basically admitted that that was her. In this letter, Kimberly Hancock also admitted that the only other person that could tie her to this crime was her brother, KoJak, but he would never be found because he was fed to the hogs, basically implicating herself that she had something to do with his disappearance. Unfortunately for the prosecutor's office and the police, this letter couldn't be substantiated either, so even though it did help, it didn't really give them what they needed, the actual proof. Also, unfortunately for the prosecution, the anonymous tipster that called in several times said that they would absolutely not testify in court. They didn't want to get involved. The authorities finally caught a break in mid-2022 when the girlfriend of Kimberly's son David came forward and told them about a story David had told her that happened to him when he was a young child. When David was roughly 7 years old, he remembered that January he had come outside and he had seen Aunt Debbie. At the time, he said that he saw his Aunt Debbie all tied up and his mother doing something to her. Well, he went to school the next day and told one of his teachers. The teacher then called Kimberly Hancock. Kimberly, of course, brushed it off, saying like, oh, my son just had a nightmare. He didn't see anything. It was just a mistake. And of course, the teacher believed it. During this interview with the police, David, Kimberly's son, also recalled that at the time, his mother threatened him if he kept talking about this incident that he was going to end up buried in the backyard like his Aunt Debbie. Absolutely unbelievable how one person could be so evil, threatening a 7-year-old kid. We know that she killed her father, killed Debbie, probably killed her brother too. Just unbelievable. People who know about this case and have followed it say that because Kim is such a small woman, there's no way that she could have taken care and wrapped up Debbie all by herself. So the main theory is that her brother KoJak probably came over maybe on accident. Maybe he just happened to be there and Kimberly coaxed him into doing something and helping him. They believe that sometime in July, when he went missing in 2009, he was probably threatening to go to the police. Who knows what she did to him, but he is still missing to this day. It's highly believed that she, Kimberly Hancock, had something to do with his disappearance because not only did she confess to various cellmates, she also said something to her daughter. She also confessed to her daughter of killing Debbie Dean. She killed her father when she was 18 years old. It's no doubt in my mind that she had something to do with her brother KoJak's disappearance, probably killed him too. Here's the very scary and sad thing. Despite the mountain of evidence, everybody knowing all these things, the fact that Kimberly confessed to so many people, she accepted an Alford plea in 2022, which basically, for those of you that don't know, it's not admitting guilt, but it's saying that the prosecutor has enough evidence against you that you'll probably be found guilty. She was only given 8 years and 8 months. She can theoretically and most likely will get out in 2028, only 3 years from now. This is a woman that killed 2 people that we know of, probably 3. Her brother is still missing as of this day. I wanted to cover this case for so many reasons. Her brother, KoJak, is a nice guy. People liked him around town. From what Kimberly has told people in jailhouse letters and other things, it is most likely that she roped him into her web of deceit and he was trying to break free of it. Probably threatened to go to the police. She took care of that. She quoted that she did something to him and then fed him to the hogs or pigs. Although there was some justice for Debbie and Debbie's family, really 8 years is just a slap in the face. I can only imagine what her mother has gone through, her kids have gone through. Yes, it's justice that this woman was arrested, but 8 years is nothing. The way to keep her in prison and the way to get more justice and keep this evil woman off the streets is to find out what happened to KoJak, because he's still missing. Debbie's mom said that Debbie was a wonderful woman and she would be the first one to admit if she made a mistake. She was hard on herself. She was trying to do better. She wanted to do right by her kids. And the fact that this Kimberly Hancock killed her over $100 a month Social Security checks is just absolutely insane. Then the fact that Kimberly buried her in her own backyard where her own kids and all these kids were playing every day for years, and to knowingly have her there for over 15 years is just despicable. I mean, this is a woman that we do not want to have outside of prison. I want to dedicate this video to Debbie Deans, her mom, all of her family, her kids, the Nash County Sheriff's Office, Kathryn with fighting crime, the amazing job she does, so many people involved in this case. My thoughts and prayers go out to everybody whose lives were unfortunately hit hard by this woman, Kimberly. I hope and pray that KoJak is found and there's some new evidence found that there's a way to keep her in prison. Please share your thoughts and opinions on this case. If you're familiar with this case and have any theories, please share them in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, your comments, your feedback. Special thank you to ko.ag for providing the background music. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. First, I wanted to remind everybody about the upcoming event in Idlewild, California. The weekend of April 12th will be the Celebration of Life for Robert Badinsky. Along there will be the author of Trail Lost, will be signing books as well as being a part of the Celebration of Life. This is being put on by the Fowler O'Sullivan Foundation. It is a 5013C nonprofit corporation that focuses on search and rescue. They do wonderful work in SAR. They have their own drone team. I'll have more information in the description if you'd like to donate or want more information on the Celebration of Life or any other information regarding that team. I wanted to remind everybody about the current giveaway. I'm going to be giving away 2 separate sterling silver necklaces. One is Saint Christopher, who is the patron saint of travelers. The other is Saint Bernard Montfort, who is the patron saint of backpackers, skiers, mountaineers. I will be selecting 2 winners at the end of this month. The winners will have the option to have the back of the pendant engraved with whatever they would like. All you need to do to be entered into the giveaway is to leave a comment regarding this video, any past video, any video suggestion, or any comment you would like, and let me know you want to be entered. I also wanted to mention Wilderness Search Investigations. They're a team located up in the state of Washington. They are looking for board members. If you are interested in something like that, it is an awesome opportunity. They are also looking for volunteers. They are also a 501c3 nonprofit organization for search and rescue. I'll have all their information in the description. I wanted to thank you all for being patient with the upload schedule. I know it isn't what it used to be, but I'm working to get back to getting at least 2 videos out a week. I thank you for being patient. I thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It's free. It really helps out the channel a lot. I also wanted to apologize. Several of my Christmas cards or letters or small gifts that I sent out to many of my subscribers got returned to me, and I just recently got them back a couple of days ago. I don't know why it took so long for them to be returned to me. I figured out what some of the problems were and resent those out. I want to say thank you again for everyone who sent me cards. If you have any video or case suggestions, please leave me a comment. I'm still way behind on the emails, but I am trying to get caught up. It's just been an awful busy time with work and dealing with my own personal health issues and family health issues. I want to once again thank everybody for being patient and sticking with me. I hope everyone's spring is off to a good start. I'd love to hear about your upcoming outdoor adventures, if you have any for this spring or summer. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.